Hello, my name's Avani. This is Replay. We're going to be listening to Tkay Maidza's latest EP. It's called Last Year Was Weird, and actually it's not to do with the pandemic at all, which is interesting, but I think we can all relate to that title in some way. I've always loved Tkay Maidza. I think she's an amazing artist. It's about being a young woman. People may be not taking you as seriously as you should, but also having that vulnerable side that you might be afraid to sort of showcase to a wider audience. But she does both of those things. She shows her strength and her intensity at some points and how great she is as an artist, while also coming through emotionally and being quite vulnerable about her own life. So yeah, let's get into it.
Still keep going round and round in my head.
So even here, so she starts the song off with this 60s sample. It's a really cool sample, but it does sound quite different to normal Tkay, who's got so much like vibrancy. She's like got lots of dance music and, you know, she's a lot of fun, but automatically the EP is starting off with almost a more complex side than we've seen before.
Flow like the river Bordeaux. Money will come and will go. Too many queens on the throne.
It's so good. Like she goes straight from like so smoothly goes like sample into singing, and now she's starting the rapping of this verse, which just sets up again like something that she does throughout the EP. It's just that transition, and it doesn't feel jarring. You know, often you hear artists who stick to one theme or the other, and even though she combines so many different things in one EP, it still feels really smooth, which is really cool.
See me shine like a fancy diamond. With a cheap in this life, there's no way.
Like even this bit, so like the beat has kicked in, and I just think it's really like genius the way that she's started off with the sample and then she matches the beat of the sample throughout. Like it just slowly progresses and gets bigger and bigger, which is really cool. It kind of just, it's funny how it just like pops out. It's like it kind of dramatically ends. You don't expect it to end. So this track, it's called On To Me with UMI. So she's obviously collaborating with UMI on this track. She's also starting to show some of the sort of evocative themes that she brings through in her lyrics, like bring it to me, sweet like honey, and I can't believe you're sticking right onto me. You cling so close, I smell your clothes, I can't believe you're sticking right onto me. Like you just picture that feeling of like gooey honey, and then like how annoying and nice it can be at the same time of like someone just being up close next to you. And yeah, she kind of gets into like the tumultuous relationship she has with this guy. You know, honey, it's sweet, it's nice, it feels good, but it can also just be like a bit of a hassle. So I think she kind of sums up that theme right from the outset.
Yeah, we got issues to solve, but I have the faith that we'll grow.
So yeah, now she's like pretty optimistic about it. She's like acknowledging the issues she has in this relationship. But saying like she thinks that, you know, they will go beyond it. And she also talks about her almost addiction to this person and how, yeah, like honey, it's like she pulls away, but then she just bounces back in all the time. So the next track is called So Cold. She's like showing us a completely different side. She's like lifting the BPM. She's gone from the like really cool soulful bit of rapping at the start, coming into like almost like an R&B track in the last one, and now she's like lifting the vibe, and it's like you could feel this being played at a party, going off at a gig. Has like strength, it's quite sassy, and she's like, you know, talking about some person she's been in a relationship with who she's just not into anymore. It's like the previous song, she was being really vulnerable and she was like talking about how she gives into these feelings with this person she's with. She's really contrasting that in a really cool way.
And we could go again. Trust this border. Not so far, so I ascend. It's wise to stay above.
She's sounding a bit sweeter almost. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like she started singing a bit. She's gone from that like high intensity at the start of the song to like really settling into it. Like, I guess it was a waste of time. I'm drifting out of paradise. Thought you had a soul. Whip it cool in the city flow. Can't hide how I'm feeling, and it's sort of cold. Can't hide how I'm feeling. And it's like she's showcasing that lyricism and being a bit more of herself in this bit now. And it's an interesting side of Tkay. I feel like we're starting to learn more about her as a person and some of that, raw emotion that she's bringing through in these verses. So the next track is called Syrup, and it's a big one. It's like one of my favorite tracks on the EP.
Thick, sweet, sick, sir. Yeah. My bars like chocolate, silky, milky, smooth.
Again, like imagine this coming on at like a festival when she's playing. It's even more intense. It's got like this really, like the bass is really strong underneath it, and you can just feel it, like you can picture it pounding through some big speakers. And yeah, I've read that like some people are comparing this sort of sound of hers to like Missy Elliott vibes, but it's cool and she makes it her own.
The bees in the dust, shift the paradigm with the Pentagon rhymes. I'm the Optimus Prime if your order is prime on time.
Yeah, like she's talking about being like a boss woman, or that's how I interpreted it anyway. Big boss walking, big boss crossing bows, big rocks talking, big glocks, what you know. Used to be the kid that took the front of the bus. Now my tour bus, getting the miles with a plus. You know, when she was growing up, she may have been like a bit more meek and shy, and you know, like may not have been like the coolest person sitting up at the front of the bus. No offense to people that sit at the front of the bus, but you know, it's like not the coolest thing to do. But like, you know, now she's like, got a tour bus, miles with a plus. Like, you know, she's showing her progression from like being like a young girl who was like still figuring herself out to being like a total boss.
Obvious, better now, never later is for all of us. I want it all, can't apologize. I'll take the cake and the kitchen knife.
Oh, that line is so good. I want it all, can't apologize. I'll take the cake and the kitchen knife. I'm unapologetically me. This is who I am, and I'm gonna take what I want.
Say a couple wishes, I'ma see you later. Homie wants the best, but he can pay my rate, yeah. Small buddy.
That line, it's so good. Homie wants the best, but he can't pay my rate. Small body hill figure on the data, small monkey thinker, I'm a navigator. And it's just like, again, it's just like people not knowing her worth. People want her, but they're not willing to give her what she deserves. This song's cool. So this song, it's called Kim, and it's with young baby Tate. And it's such a good song. She's bringing in these themes of being a strong young woman. And this song's Kim, which is named after Kim Possible, which is like the Disney TV show that was around. And if you don't know Kim Possible, it's about this like young adolescent girl, and she for some reason is a spy, so she has to like fight crime and do all this stuff that like, you know, young girls don't do. And I think that's kind of the symbolism of so much of this EP for Tkay. You know, she is showing us that really vulnerable side, dealing with relationships, dealing with annoying guys or whatever. But then at the same time, she's making it in the music industry, something that so many young women at the moment are dealing with. It's just like, yeah, you're dealing with your really annoying emotional side that can be a bit hard and a bit like angsty, but then trying to like make it in some kind of career and really push through and get people to value you.
Bitch, I'm Kim. Bitch, I'm Kim.
Yeah, so that's the song, like Kim Possible, like that's her. So she's like really showing that side of her, that twofold vulnerability that she feels, as well as being just like a really strong young woman. I feel like this EP, I'm listening to it and I'm like, I just want to see it all live. Like it would just be so much fun. All right, so the next song's High Beams.
Stay low, I feel we're gone. Ooh, yes, Lord.
She's toning it back a bit more, but it's still got a bit of an R&B sound. But like the last two tracks were like high intensity and like full on, and now she's like kind of settling back into it, and like she gets a bit gospel-y in this track as well.
Copping the legs of the run is a must. These sacrifices we make is a must.
So I think she's talking about her own experiences here pretty explicitly. Like she, Tkay is from Australia. She grew up in South Australia, and she moved to LA to obviously, you know, get on the global stage. She speaks pretty openly about that in this song. She's saying, nothing is promised, so I gotta bust. Copping LA, told LeBron it's a must. These sacrifices we make is a must. And it's like, yeah, she's talking about actually really giving up a lot to like go overseas and pursue her own career. That is just such a good lyric. It's, yes, Lord, I've been slept on, they late, they can't cope. And it's, you know, being overlooked, like, you know, they've slept on her. They haven't given her the backing that she's needed on a global stage necessarily. And again, it's that idea, like young women being overlooked in this industry, and TK especially, like she's making it in the sort of rap R&B scene, and she's trying to like push herself into that. Such a good song. It's just like makes you kind of, yeah, it gives you chills a bit because it's just like, oh, so much drama, so much contrast. It's really good. So the next song is Cashmere, which is like one of her most popular songs off the EP, I'd say.
You ain't safe until you're there.
So already she's indicating to us this is like a bit of a softer song in that it's showing her more emotional side, and she gets into some of those themes. So she's fully transitioned now from like high intensity boss power, and now she's getting back into like her personal feelings and like relationships and stuff like that.
It ain't easy to let go, especially when yes info.
Yeah, she's talking about literally hiding some of those anxieties that she has in her life. You can't live until we cry, every beautiful tear. It ain't easy until it goes, specifically when you're sinful. Camouflage my darkest thoughts, disconnecting the ties. And she is talking about, yeah, that kind of need that she feels in order to hide that more emotional side of herself.
Bend in time like the memory, slow it down in the centuries. I don't think I could see the future.
And then here, she's like gone into rapping again. How she just guides us through it so easily is really amazing. It never feels jarring, but she can do it all. And she showcases all of that on this track and so many others on this EP. The last song on the EP is called Breathe. And it's so cool because it's like, it's 10 songs, the EP, but she's brought us back full circle. It's like been such a journey. Like we started off in the Garden of Eden, and it was like quite warm and nice, and then we like got into the emotional depths of TK, and then we got into the intensity and the power, and now we're coming back to that softer side to wrap it all up.
Breathe, breathe, breathe. Again, throwing pebbles on the colored pavement. And
a lot of this EP is to do with how people see TK and how she feels about herself, and how she's trying to push through those different things, and she kind of brings back that theme here.
You see, they underestimated me when I needed to believe. Negativity would creep.
They didn't think that I could see. They underestimated me when I needed to believe. Negativity would creep in. And that's so true. You know, I think everyone can relate to that. You know, sometimes you can fight through it. Sometimes you can feel okay with people underestimating you or being mean to you or not understanding your value or your worth. You can put up that wall. You can feel like it's okay and you can deal with it. But occasionally it does creep in, and it does feel... it feels hard, and she's being really honest and raw and emotional about that experience with us.
Once in a race, I was just on the go. Keep myself busy not being alone. Sick of the fact that my friends are my phone.
She's talking about being on the go, really investing in her career and just like backing herself in, but like the sacrifices that she's made, she's like, haven't seen much of my mum on the low, like how she might be acting out of fear to try and prove herself. And, you know, she's reflecting on that and questioning whether that was the right move. Yeah.
Could we just stay here?
And then, yeah, she's gone from like being vulnerable and talking about that experience to just being like, well, you know, just want to stop in this moment and just like take it in. Can we just stay here? I don't mind. Can we just stay here? She just keeps saying it over and over again. And she's being really open with us about, yeah, that difficulty and how she kind of just, sometimes you just want to retreat. You just want to stop in the moment and stop thinking about all the bigger picture stuff in your life. This EP is really cool. I just love the different sides of TK that we get to see here, and it really shows how she's grown as an artist, but as a person as well. She's self-reflective. It's really cool. I think my favorite songs are Syrup and Kim. They are just about like backing yourself, having your confidence and really showing your worth. And they are call outs to like the world to just be like, hey, see me for who I am, value me for who I am. And they have so much strength and power, which I love. Yeah, I love this EP. It's a trilogy. They're all called Last Year Was Weird, but this is the third iteration. And personally, I think it's the best one because yeah, she does experiment so much. You hear so many different sides of Tkay. But on a personal level, it just feels really relatable. And again, it's like, yeah, you don't often hear young women similar age to you who are really talking about those difficulties in being taken seriously. And it's definitely something that I've experienced being a journalist, you know, especially a young female journalist. Even the way you look, the way you sound, people don't always take you seriously and understand the power or strength that you might have in that kind of job. And it's an issue that I think, yeah, young women in so many industries face. And so I think to hear that being so honestly spoken about, but also it makes you want to back yourself. You know, some of these tracks, it makes you feel like, yeah, I can be taken seriously. I should be paid what I'm worth for a job in whatever industry. I should have people wanting to showcase me and who I am. I think so many young people around the country and the world will relate to those themes that Tkay's so beautifully bringing forward in this EP.